Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to B-Ball Breakdown. I am very pleased to have Devin Williams of 10,000 Hours back on the show. You might remember he came on the court with us to demonstrate a great move. And now he's going to come on because tell us a little bit about this new project that you're working on that sounds really exciting.
So we have a new series coming out. I'm working with a company called Grid Media. And we're going to a few different places. We're in LA, Chicago, DC, just to find out, and it's called the heart of the city. And we're trying to find out like why basketball is so popular. Why are they getting all these really good players coming out of these areas like Toronto? They've been putting out a lot of good players in the last few years. I mean, you know, you go get Wiggins, or Canada just in particular, Wiggins, and they had a couple #1 draft picks, and it's incredible. So we're just trying to find out what the secret sauce is in each city.
So you haven't actually traveled yet in these cities, or have you done a little bit of this?
It's all done. We're just trying to put all the videos together right now, but it was an amazing experience, actually. You learn so much about basketball just seeing it in different areas. A long time ago, it would have been a lot different when YouTube didn't exist. You know, when you're able to see, I used to have a cousin who would come out from New York, and he had these moves that I had never seen before. He called it an overcross. And I was like, how did you learn? I mean, he said everybody does it in New York, and nobody was doing it in LA. And he would see moves that we were doing that they weren't doing it out there. So, I mean, it's just, now it's different being that we have YouTube where you can just type in any player, you can just look it up. But it's still a total difference just seeing how people play in different areas. Like Chicago's a lot rougher than it would be in California. And, you know, Toronto is just a lot different than that, too.
You know, I grew up in Chicago, so I'm part of the long lineage of Chicago guards, I guess. And when I moved out to LA and I started coaching, the first thing I said was, "This is not very tough. This is not physical. This, you know, everyone thinks that they're playing really hard." And I thought, like, that's not even close to what we do in Chicago. Well, tell me something else that you discovered about Chicago basketball that maybe surprised you.
Well, it was, as far as basketball goes, the skill didn't wow me. I believe that in basketball, a lot of it just has to do with just being very physical and giving it all you have. Kind of like how we talked about with Dellavedova, he just plays extremely hard. A lot of those guys, yeah, they're skilled, but you get a lot of people like Patrick Beverly coming out of those type of areas. One thing that we did run into in Chicago was kind of like, that was one of the only cities, no offense, that I went and I immediately wanted to come back because we went to the worst part. We went to the worst part initially, and you know, you could see why a lot of those players are trying so hard to be good at basketball because they want to get out of the project buildings that they're in. Eventually, we made our way to like the better areas, but you know, I mean, it was just tough. I got a chance to talk to like some of the kids around in those areas, and they were just telling me, you know, last week my friend got shot, or you know, this and that, and it was just kind of depressing. You feel so bad for the guys, but I mean, it kind of speaks on how they play because it's such a tough area. They play such a tough game of basketball, defensively, offensively. It's very aggressive. So, got a chance to meet some really cool people, coaches, just OG guys that just grew up and know the game, and you know, it was just very humbling to be able to see just a different type of basketball for sure.
So when you arrive in this city, you got a camera crew, maybe a couple cameras, and so what's the format here? Are you just sort of showing up randomly, or are you going to games, or going to the parks? What's happening when in the show?
Well, it's kind of planned out, but it's kind of not, you know, because we don't want things to feel, in any video that I make, I don't want it to seem acted out because, you know, I'm not an actor by no means at all. So we get in the city. I never know the cameraman in each city. Like, we get a different cameraman in each city, and then once we get there, we kind of plan it out to start off. So we go meet with one person, and then we get information talking about where like the best basketball is being played in each area that we go to. So like Chicago, for example, they took us to, I can't remember the name of the park, but everybody goes there. So we're kind of just winging it and seeing what comes out of it in each place that we went, and it turned out well for the most part. Sometimes it's hard when you're kind of winging it because sometimes, people don't give you the right information. But on top of that, they gave us, I mean, every place that we went to, especially Chicago, they gave us great advice on where the food was. That was a great position in every place that we went. But yeah, man, it's cool just winging it because makes it feel more realistic in a sense,
Mm-hmm. Are you surprised that basketball is so universal across the country and across the world?
Yeah. No, I'm not surprised being that I train it because the way I feel, if you know how to play basketball the right way, you'll be able to play it with anybody. I mean, as far as the passing and cutting and relocating and, being unselfish, it's easy to play with people when it's like that. So we ran into a lot of that, and then just playing hard. Like if you can play really hard and you're very tough, you can play in Chicago, or you can play in a lot of these places where the basketball is a little bit more aggressive. So no, as far as that goes, no, not at all. Basketball is it's the universal language that we all speak, if you know it.
Give us a list of the places that you actually traveled to.
Toronto, which we talked about, is producing a lot of good talent. Los Angeles, which probably has, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they have the most professional NBA guys in the NBA right now as far as the state of California. Mm-hmm. Went to Seattle. Seattle definitely has something special brewing there. They got a lot of players in such a small city too. LA, Seattle, Toronto, DC, Chicago, and Texas.
Where'd you go to in Texas?
Went to Dallas, Texas. And it's cool there too because that's traditionally a football sport. I mean, a football state, and basketball is slowly but surely growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and that passion is spilling over from football to basketball. Maybe because parents don't want their kids getting the concussions that come with it, or whatever the case may be, but you're seeing a lot of big bodies moving over to basketball. And you see, like, for so long, even me coming up, a lot of the most athletic players that I've ever seen came out of Texas. Or they came out of North Carolina also, but Texas. They will always come out of those areas consistently, these big, massive guys that were tearing the rim off. So It was kind of interesting seeing, the different things that came out of Dallas. I'm not trying to give too much away, but great experience. Seattle, this was one of my favorite places in a sense where it kind of reminded me of the place where I'm living at, which is San Francisco. Just real laid back. People are a lot more chill for whatever reason. And every place that we went to in Seattle, it just felt like they had like a family type environment going on. Come to find out, there's a lot of players coming out of that area, and they all know each other. During the summer when everybody's back, they all work out together. They all have open gyms together. They all go get the younger guys and make sure that they're raising them up the right way. It's a brotherhood. Mm-hmm. And what they're doing in Seattle, I didn't see anywhere else.
Absolutely. Well, I think that you've found something great with your Heart of the City show, and I can't wait to watch it. I know everyone on our channel is going to have to flip over there and watch it when it's ready too. When do you think it's going to be up and watchable?
I have a video coming out June 14th called Back to Zero, 10,000 Hours Back to Zero, which is my new episode. On that same day, the trailer comes out. I believe that the full video for that comes out in 2 weeks for the Heart of the City series. We'll be putting them out over the next, about 3 months. And it should be pretty exciting. We got T-shirts coming out for the series, a couple giveaways, and it'll be fun. It'll give people a chance to see what's happening in other cities that they may not know about. So I'm excited about it.
Fantastic. Well, I'm excited about it too. I can't wait to see what you discovered and how you existed as a fish out of water in these different places. Mm-hmm. And, if you guys want to follow, tell us where we can follow you on the social media side.
I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is 10,000 hours, spelled TEN000 hours, HOURS. And on YouTube, it's Shift Team HQ. Twitter is the same thing as my Instagram handle, and I'm always active on all three of them. More or less the YouTube. People give me a hard time because I don't post that often, but I'm a busy guy nowadays.
You sure are. Well, thanks for coming on the show. Really great stuff. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel. We're a conversation. You win? You win, Devin?
I'm in.